EMU is going to snap very soon in the story of One Piece, and we might just see a new Domi Reversi Loki in the next chapter. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video by Motion, and today we'll be talking about why Lord EMU-sama is going to snap very soon in the story of One Piece and what could be its consequence for the whole Straw Hat Pirate and the island of ELBAF. But before we move on to the video, be sure to like, share and subscribe to our channel Motion. This really helps us out, and with that self plugin out of the way, let's get back into the main video. If you guys are currently following the manga of One Piece, you are seeing a trend right now, and that is the good guys currently have the upper hand. But it is very weird and odd for the story of One Piece because most of the time the good guys are stuck in a dire situation from where they are going to formulate a plan. Mostly, punching the kings or punching the bad guys out. That is how Luffy do his things. But here we are just seeing the opposite thing, and that is Luffy and the crew are having a huge advantage here, and the only person currently standing to our knowledge is none other than the current lord of the world, EMU-sama. And we know that till today EMU has not failed a single plan that he personally took account on, and that is including the Void Century. So EMU wanting to destroy the whole nation of ELBAF and destroy its culture and heritage is going to be something that EMU is going to do in the near future. That is inevitable. But the big question here is how though? EMU is currently possessing Gunko, the Holy Knight, and she is not even as strong as someone like the Gorosei. So we could easily say that the power output that EMU could produce with someone like Gunko is reasonably smaller compared to someone like a Gorosei. So EMU is kind of restricted at that point, and his Uno ability, the Domi Reversi, is also seemingly being solved right about in the last chapter where Dory and Broggy just decapitated themselves and just come back as normal selves. And not just here in ELBAF, but also in the Holy Land of Marijua, everything is also going haywire. That is why Shamrock left. Marijua is currently under fire, and something has to be there in order to put up that fire, and probably a thread of some kind is being held over to Marijua, maybe dragon attack or maybe something else. On that note though, we did saw a glimpse of the Holy Land in the last chapter, but we did not saw any kind of fire. Probably Oda forgot, or probably that part of the Holy Land is not yet engulfed in fire. Maybe some other part is being burned right now. And being the final villain of One Piece, or probably the final villain in One Piece, EMU is currently losing in both fronts, both in Marijua and in ELBAF, and that is kind of unacceptable. You cannot just diminish an opponent that quickly, who is also going to be a huge threat and probably the biggest threat in the whole story of One Piece till date, if not counting Blackbeard. So you all know what we are going to do here. EMU is going to just take up his shotgun and blow people's head off, right? He just did that with Broggy. He just, destroyed one of Broggy's arm. And if you just read the last chapter, I did say in our chapter analysis that weirdly Broggy's arm is back again. We know that Domi Reversi does give you regeneration, but once he is back again, how could his arm be normal again? That is very weird. So probably the Domi Reversi effect isn't over yet, or maybe there is something else in play. But the jokes aside of that shotgun, EMU is going to snap in probably the very next chapter, because every one of his soldiers, including Saint Summers and Saint Kinningham, are probably down. Although we did not got any confirmation of whether Saint Kinningham is down out by that Sanji kick. But let us now ask everyone a question, that is, what can EMU do when he snaps? Or what he could possibly do with his current abilities that is going to make one of his strongest enemies, aka Loki, into a threat? Yes, that is, he's going to turn Loki into a Domi Reversi beast. If the implication of stopping Domi Reversi is to decapitate or kill someone permanently in order to bring them back to life, just how Dory and Broggy showed that. If Loki is just being Domi Reversi, I don't think anyone except of Luffy there could even stop or could even think of stopping Loki at that point. He's just so big and so strong. But not just a Domi Reversi Loki. There is one more thing EMU could do in order to shift the tide of the battle into his own favor, and that is an extra ability on top of Domi Reversi, aka a layered ability or layered mechanism of Domi Reversi that we have not yet seen. And that is all we got to see in the last chapter, because we did saw Broggy's arm being regenerated after he turned normal, and that is very weird. I just pointed that out earlier in the video, because this is what EMU is playing with. EMU's Domi Reversi is not yet over. Otherwise, how could have rocks just not, being rocks, he could have just, destroyed himself. His willpower was strong enough in order to overcome Emu's willpower. How we saw Dory and Brogy's willpower overcome Emu's willpower. So, there is one more thing at play, and that is Emu is probably using some kind of mechanism in order to give the people, aka the Straw Hat crew and the giants of ELBAF, a hope in order to just snap it out of them. And that is the reason we are seeing that Emu is still so much chill. He's not going to just, getting angry after everything is going haywire, because he knows that he still have mechanisms and things at play that is going to make him win in this whole battle of ELBAF. And he's going to destroy the tree of ELBAF, aka the whole island, and kill Elder Jarl with his freaking shotgun. That will be it for today's video. I hope you guys liked this video, and if you guys watched till the end, be sure to like our video, subscribe to our channel Anymotion, and share this video with your fellow One Piece and anime fans. With that being said, I'm out. Peace.